Hey everybody, it's Eric. So I recently had the misfortune of having to use GoDaddy again for one of my website projects. Now, I've used GoDaddy before in the past, like years and years ago, and that was when it was under different management and stuff. So I was thinking, okay, my client has already set up GoDaddy. Maybe it's changed within the past 5-6 years, so I'm gonna give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? And GoDaddy is exactly the same as it was before. The service is still horrible. So I know some other people have complained about GoDaddy's like ethical problems. Like I know their previous CEO like game hunted elephants for fun, so that kind of sucks. But that's not really why I'm making this video. Basically, I just wanted to argue why GoDaddy is just the worst from a service perspective. So I think pretty much the only reason people actually use GoDaddy is because they just have a lot of advertising money. So they have their advertisements everywhere. It's pretty much a household name. So if you have your person who wants to set up a basic website and they don't know anything about websites, I mean, they probably know what GoDaddy is. Just because they've seen it on TV, they've seen a bunch of ads on the internet before. But it's pretty much the worst service that you can get for your money. So I guess I'll just start off with the pricing. So pretty much how GoDaddy does everything is it gives you a worse service for more money than everybody else. I mean, I guess they got to pay for the advertising some way. So all the domains are a few dollars more than every other website I've checked. It's always like $4 more than everything else. And then for basic services that you get with any other domain registrar, you're going to be paying more for that as well. So most domain registrars will throw in Privacy Guard for free. So basically, if you don't know, whenever you set up a domain, it's able to be looked up, like who is the owner of this domain. And if you don't have who is privacy protection, then it's just going to say all your personal information. So your first and last name, your address. And if you want to protect that, most domain registrars will protect it for you and not put your personal information in there, and instead put their company information so nobody can actually look it up for you. But GoDaddy doesn't do that by default. You'd think they would, but they charge an additional $10 a year for that. So it's pretty much double the cost of your domain. Now, maybe $10 here and there doesn't sound like too much, but they also try to hook you in for a whole bunch of other add-ons and services too. So before you can actually check out your domain, if you want to purchase that, you also have to go through the GoDaddy like waterboarding of how they want you to sign up for their hosting. Oh, you gotta have hosting for your website, right? Join us. You gotta set up your email with them. You gotta throw in a whole bunch of other useless offers that you probably don't need. But if you're not that tech savvy, you don't know that much about websites or website hosting, you'll probably sign up for it because it sounds good. Like, GoDaddy knows what's best for you, right? So you're probably getting scammed by them already just by paying way more than any other service. And that wouldn't be that bad. That would be forgivable if their service was better than everybody else. Unfortunately, it's much worse than everybody else's service. So I've heard from a lot of other freelancers and website developers that if they know that their client is using GoDaddy, they just tack on a 10% or 20% fee, a GoDaddy fee, for having to work in GoDaddy. And honestly, that's probably smart because for some clients, I probably spent way more than 10% of the budget just working on fixing GoDaddy and all its issues and going through all these headaches myself trying to fix everything. So let me just go over a few things that I've actually experienced using GoDaddy. So first of all, just have the expectation that most things are going to break while you're inside GoDaddy. So I remember changing some code inside GoDaddy. I remember changing some code inside this WordPress website I was working on, and I broke something, the website went down for a minute. It was just a typo that I missed. But GoDaddy actually cached the error, and for some reason, I still don't know, but putting this error back to the way it was not fixing it. No matter what I tried, I must have spent like a half hour trying to fix it, even though I didn't do anything differently. GoDaddy had just cached the page the way it was like stuck in time. I could not change anything. But luckily they do have backups. So I rolled back the backups to 1 day ago. I lost all the progress I had for that day, all the hours of work I had before that. So I got to do that all over again, which was really fun. I bill by the hour, so it cost my client more money. And besides that, a lot of other things are just broken about the website. Things will just randomly break for no reason. Like for one client, I wanted to add an SSL certificate. By the way, that's another thing that GoDaddy does not add for free. A lot of other web hosts will throw in SSL for free by using something called Let's Encrypt, which is basically like a free SSL certificate, which pretty much all websites need now. It's pretty much a basic requirement for having a website, otherwise Google is gonna say your website is not secure. So you pretty much need it, and GoDaddy doesn't include that by default. If you want that, it's another yearly subscription with a whole bunch more money tacked on. Most modern web hosts will include that for free with Let's Encrypt. I asked GoDaddy if they had that, and they said, no, we don't. So it's another bonus. But anyway, when I was trying to buy that, I went to GoDaddy's SSL page, and for some reason it just wouldn't load. I thought, okay, maybe that's because I have an ad block running, maybe that the browser I'm using isn't working. So I changed that, I changed that, I changed the operating system because it still wasn't working. I tried it on different devices because that still wasn't working. It just was not working. And it wasn't working for anybody else either. Like, I asked, so eventually I had to go on support and talk to them, and they said it wasn't working from them, so they had to do something in the back end, and they had to basically purchase it for me. So in order to purchase an SSL certificate, which is something basic that you need, you gotta like go in and call support and have them do it for you. So that was a pain. And if you're gonna be using GoDaddy, get used to talking to support a lot, because a lot of things are gonna break, like I said, and you're not always gonna be able to fix them because sometimes GoDaddy just won't load the page, or you can't find some basic option that you're looking for, or just some other basic thing will not work and you'll just have to contact support for it because you can't fix it yourself. Like, you literally can't. I've tried to fix it myself, it doesn't work. So at least they have chat support. Not always, not at all hours, not 24-hour support like a lot of places do. So sometimes you have to call in and then you have to talk to a robot and do all this other horrible customer service stuff. But sometimes you'll get lucky and sometimes they'll have the chat window open, so you get to do that. And you're always going to be talking to this guy from India or something. So it's not going to be great service, unfortunately. So you got to really work out with this guy what's going wrong. Wait for 30 minutes while he troubleshoots it and go over it again. Even though it should be a simple fix that you can do yourself if you know anything about what you're doing. But with GoDaddy you can't do it because it's either not working or the option is not there. So you're gonna be talking to support a lot, so get used to that. You'll be wasting a lot of time with that as well. So I mentioned before about like not being able to find any options. So GoDaddy has this horrible user interface. Whenever you log into your dashboard, it looks pretty minimalist, it looks pretty cool, like it looks nicely designed. Once you log in for the first time, you're like, okay, this looks like a pretty good design. But the problem with their minimalist design is it's hiding all the features that you need. So all of the features that you'd be able to find on a normal host are pretty much gone. And so you have to be searching along all these like arcane menus and stuff, trying to figure out where is this basic feature that I would be able to find in any other web host, but GoDaddy has hidden it because we want everything to be minimalist and look good for everybody, instead of actually having a usable user experience that you can just find everything easily. No, you gotta like look, it's kind of fun. It's like a game of hide and seek. Like, where did they hide the option that I'm looking for? So that's always a fun experiment. So you're gonna be losing a lot of time to that too. Just basically, if you're a web developer and you're working on GoDaddy, just pretty much, I hope your time is worthless because you're pretty much gonna be flushing it down the drain for most of the time. So that's how much GoDaddy, that's how well GoDaddy thinks of you. They just don't value your time at all. They just want you to waste all your time. And if you're billing clients by hours like I am, then prepare for them to pay a lot more money than they would with any other host. So Maybe they picked GoDaddy because it's cheap. I mean, maybe previously it was cheaper than some other alternatives, maybe, but you're still going to be paying a lot more money because everything is just way more difficult in GoDaddy than any other host or domain registrar. So my hypothesis as to why the website is so broken is because I think it's like the new user interface that's put on top of this old dinosaur code from the Mesozoic era, because every once in a while you'll be going through the new website and then you'll click on some link that doesn't get used too often and you'll get transported back to the time of the dinosaurs with this like ancient looking designs. And if you think finding things on the newly designed website is hard, well, good luck working with the old version of the website, because it is much worse. Not only visually, but like trying to find anything and make anything work. It's just as buggy as the modern website. So besides just having incompetent programmers that work there, they're not only just incompetent, they're also a pretty scummy company as well. So one thing that they did last year is, without telling anybody, they started to put like tracking inside all of the hosted websites there. So they put like a little snippet of JavaScript inside every page, which tracking your users without your knowledge or anything is already scummy enough. I mean, they had an opt-out feature, but what about an opt-in feature? Like, come on. So they already put that on you without you knowing about it, but it didn't just track your users, it also made your website like noticeably slower. So like people would run into performance issues with their website, it's like running slower than usual, and they'd complain to GoDaddy like, what's going on? And GoDaddy was like, oh yeah, we put this JavaScript inside your website without you knowing about it. So that's great. GoDaddy will just spring that on you without telling you or anything. And of course, because it was a big PR disaster, they took that down. I mean, they're a pretty scummy company. They're probably going to be pulling stuff like this all the time. So I wouldn't really trust them with anything, especially hosting your website. So pretty much don't do anything with GoDaddy. Pretty much any web host or any domain registrar would be better than GoDaddy. But if you want like some recommendations, I'll give you some. So for my domain registration, I use epic.com, EPIK. So they're really good. You can purchase a domain with them really easily. And besides that, there's also namecheap.com. I'd recommend that as well. They have a pretty good experience as well. For hosting with WordPress, which I think most GoDaddy websites, I think most GoDaddy hosted websites are built with WordPress. So I would either go with SiteGround if you want a little bit cheaper option, or WP Engine if you don't mind spending a little bit extra money. They're both really good. I've worked inside both of them. Great developer experience, great support, great everything. So I'd really recommend using them over GoDaddy. And if you're a web developer or a freelancer and your clients already have something set up with GoDaddy or trying to get you to use GoDaddy, just like have a meeting with them, talk with them, show them this video or something, so that you don't waste hours of your life and want to pull your hair out of your head working with this horrible company. So that's all I had to say. I just wanted to rant to get this out of my system because I recently had to work with GoDaddy and I was just losing my mind. So I'm putting this out here to hope that nobody else falls into the same trap that I did. Okay, that's all I had to say. Take it easy.